Happy global release date, folks! Vanguard Zero in English is officially out worldwide, and it's definitely an amazing day. Lots of new people, a lot of you getting into the game, you know, whether you've played Vanguard in the past or never before, or play Vanguard right now. It's really great to see all the new faces. Also, huge thank you to Shady Penguin for that shout out. He made a video on Zero, and he's doing a lot of Zero videos, which I think you guys should check out. And he used to play Vanguard in the past, and honestly, it's amazing to have such a big, you know, high caliber content creator be part of our community. And so definitely go check out his videos. Huge thank you for that shout out. Welcome to all the new folks coming from that video. I guess about myself a little bit. I've been playing this game since 2011, Vanguard itself, and then I play Zero in both English and Japanese, and then I prioritize Japanese a little bit more, but then I still play actively in English, as you probably guessed by the title of this video. And so yeah, I basically post content for both the mobile game and for the physical trading card game, and I'm also one of the main official commentators for the card game as well. So with that out the way, I'd also like to thank you guys for the 25k subs. That was really fast. This honestly has been some of the fastest growth I've seen in a long time, but we've been taking a long time rambling, and today I want to show you guys the deck that I used to climb to Legend. Now, honestly, I took a backseat with the preseason. So Vanguard Zero was out in Singapore as a soft launch for 2 weeks, and anyone from around the world could access it through BlueStacks and QApp. And so I took advantage of that, of course, just like most other people, and decided to climb. And so with the preseason, I was mostly playing the Japanese version because we now have really insane rank rewards that I needed to get to Legend 30, which, as you can see here, it says Legend 10, and then you have like infinite amount of Legend ranks. And so I basically need to get to Legend 30 in Japanese to get enough copies of Azel to make that Azel video for you guys in a couple of weeks, or next week actually. But yeah, but in the background I still managed to climb on the English Zero and managed to reach a Legend. I didn't go much further than that, but I will today show you guys the deck list that I used to get to Legend, and then I'm also going to go through the building process, because I started out not having that many pieces for the deck, because, you know, I just re-rolled, I got some triple rares, and then I went with it, and I just opened packs as I went. But I will show you how we got there. So this is the deck list. And I mean, immediately you'll see, oh, 4 blockades, you know, like, it makes you think that I spent money, and the only thing I spent money on was the Perfect Guards, actually, just to get my playset of Perfect Guards, because the Perfect Guard medals were not in the VP rewards last time. So now that they are, everyone can get these. If you roll 1 or 2, you can basically get the remaining 2 from the VP rewards of the season. But the deck list itself, I'm going to go through how I built it, because at the start I just had 1 Overlord and 1 Blockade, and that was it. So going through the deck, Blockade of course is the main thing. It takes away your opponent's intercepts, which means that instead of having to go, if your opponent sends up grade 2s, instead of going rear, face, or like retire rear, but then rear, face and then face, you can now just go face. So basically it's very aggressive. You can build good columns with this deck as well, because of a couple cards and how they interact, and because of that you can win games relatively quickly, and overall it's just like, you know, you can get around the intercepts thanks to Blockade. So Blockade is a core card. However, as I said, I only had 1 of him at the start, so I'm going to talk about what I played instead. The other, Overlord is honestly just an icing on the cake. It was only on crit because I felt like, at first I actually ran 9 crits with this deck. Now you'll see it's 8 draw, 1 crit. In general, in Zero, you want to play decks with more draws, but at the start of the game, this was the same in Japanese too, a lot of people don't have PGs yet. So they don't have Perfect Guards, and therefore if you get a couple crits and you hit your opponent for 3 damage, they're probably going to have to take that because they don't have PGs. And so because of that, I took advantage of the situation basically and just, you know, played it smart, put in more crits. And I think for those of you that are starting out on your ranked climbs right now, I think you should also do that, because people that climbed in the soft launch already at Legend, so anyone below Legend right now is starting out from more or less the same ground. So you can take advantage of the fact, play more crits at the start, but then the moment you see that your opponents are having more and more PGs, you want to switch them to draws, because draws will actually help you last in the game and help you draw into more pieces, draw into more aggro and stuff like that. Then going forward, we played 4 of the Vortex. So this is kind of your main like budget-friendly grade 3. So he soul charges 1 at the start of every single turn and gets plus 2k. So that way with the bar boost, you hit for 20k all the time, which is usually enough to hit for over a defensive after they've taken a damage against most opponents. His other skill, which rarely sees use, but when it does, it's usually quite impactful, which is Soul Blast 6, Counter Blast 4 to retire 3 of your opponent's rear guards. So this way you can pop their interceptors and just go face, and also get a bunch of power on some of your units that take advantage of this skill as well. The Soul Blast 6 usually you can reach on turn like 5, I would say, because usually you ride him, you soul charge 1, and then you'll soul charge 1 again, and then you can re-ride him again to get another soul charge, plus the soul that happens from just riding a grade 3. And the Counter Blast 4, you don't have counter chargers in Kagero yet, that's going to be next set, but I mean, the only other Counter Blast use really is Berserk Dragon as well as Overlord, and you don't always use them. Berserk more often than not, but Overlord doesn't come up that often. And now the other card that really helps this deck shine is the Dual Axe Arc Dragon. So during your turn, if your opponent has 2 or less rear guards, he gets plus 3k. So then together with basically any grade 1, he makes a 20k column, or 21k if it's with the bar, which hits over your opponent's defensives as well. So you want to keep making lines that make 20k, 21k pretty easily, and so that way, even if your opponent gets a trigger as their first damage, you can still hit them despite that. So that's kind of the game plan of this deck. However, as I climbed, a lot of people played Kagero, and every single Kagero likes to play Conro, because Conro is a really strong card. It's a Counter Blast 1, and retire him to search for any grade 1 and add it to your hand. And that means you can search your Perfect Guard, which is obviously really good. And so in order to counteract that, we started playing Tejas. So Tejas is basically, it can attack a unit in the back row opposite of it. So what you do is, you go, if you go first or second, you don't attack turn 1, so you don't give them that first Counter Blast to use the Conro. And what you do is, turn 2, ride the Tejas and attack their Conro instead of their face. That way you take away their Conro, and they can't search a Perfect Guard, but you can, and you can still call a rear guard to attack face, so you're still doing damage that turn. But the reason why I started playing Tejas, I could actually put it up to 3 copies now actually, because you run into a lot of the mirror. So the Gyuntulu I just played because I like the 11k attacker. It would hit against Overlords, Ashura Kaisers, and stuff like that back when I was running into them more, but now I think I would actually take this out. I just kept the list the same as I climbed, simply because I wanted to talk to you guys about it. So Tejas is the answer to the mirror match. It's really, really important. You'll run into Kagero a lot, and so you want to be able to use Tejas. You don't use it as much as against Royals. Like, you can leave up their Wingle. It usually doesn't, I mean their Barkle, it usually doesn't mean that much. Then, for the other grade 2s, 4 Nehalems, because 10k attacker is always good, and then 3 Sutherlands. I would maybe even put this up to 4 now, because basically every time you retire something, he gets plus 3k power, and your main source of retire outside of Vortex Dragon is this Berserk Dragon, which is when placed Counter Blast 2 to retire one of your opponent's grade 2 or less rear guards. And so, this basically makes the Sutherland into a 12k attacker, but again, with the bar boost, it's a 20k. So again, you hit for those nice numbers just like you want to. And then on top of that, you also have Joka, who has the exact same skill, so she's a 10k boost. So her combined with any grade 2 can hit for 19. If it's combined with a Nehalem, it's for 20. So combined with any grade 3, it hits for 20 as well, or 21, or 23 even with Arc Dragon. So it's really, really good. The whole deck is just about making good numbers, retiring your opponent's stuff, and then getting over your opponent's intercepts. So now, if you don't have enough blockades, let's say you're re-rolling right now, but you know, you only got 1 blockade like I did, so let's make the deck ourselves. Let's just remake it from scratch and see how we can improve it. So, we're also going to assume that you have maybe 2 Perfect Guards to start. So first things first, we're going to put in the Conro. Then let's say you only have 2 Perfect Guards. Then we're going to fill up our deck full of bars, because 8k base is always good. And then let's put in a couple Gojos, because these will help us draw into any future cards we need. This can help you like discard unnecessary cards and draw into your Perfect Guards or other grade 3s that you want to see. So it's good for just filtering, but you don't need too many copies of it. And then let's see what else we could put in. I think what we'll do is, we're going to play these already, because if you're playing Vortex Dragon, you might as well play this. And then let's play 1 Kimnara. It's only a 6k, but it's also retire, meaning that we can proc the Joka more often. So let's say, if you're on a budget, you would start off like this. Let's go to grade 2s now. So let's say maybe you pulled 1 Berserk Dragon. So let's go with 1. And then, of course, 4 Nehalems. And then we can put in, let's put in the 4 Sutherlands now. And then you want to win the mirror match, so you put in 2 of these. And then how I would recommend rounding this off, if you're still going for that like budget-friendly build, is put in 2 of these guys, because Flame Edge Dragon soul charges you an extra card, meaning that you can actually hit your Vortex Dragon a bit faster. And then, so like I said, we pulled 1 Blockade, or we re-rolled for it, 1 Overlord, maybe 1 Dual Axe, and so then the rest we're going to have to fill in with Vortexes. This is still a 13. Oh no, this is the 5k attacker. This is the 13k attacker. So this is still hitting for nice numbers, even if we don't have the dual, dual axe arc dragon. And then on top of that, you can run a couple other cards. So I mean, if you didn't roll these, for example, so you can run the Exile Dragon, which pops your opponent's grade 3s. I don't personally like this card. I think it's quite meh. So I would personally maybe even recommend this, which is a 12k attacker. So again, we're still hitting like that requirement to do good damage, do good numbers like we want to. This is an example of what like your budget right after re-rolling deck list could look like, and then you gradually upgrade it to look like what I have. Obviously, if you have more Overlords, play more Overlords. If you get more Dual Axes, play more Dual Axes. 4 Berserks, play 4 Berserks. I'm not sure if I have 4 actually. I think I only have 3. So because if I had 4, I would definitely play 4. So the deck is good. Blockade will be used for the next couple months, 3 months actually, I want to say, and so you'll definitely get a lot of use out of him. And so this is kind of like how you can approach building this deck. And so now, I'm not going to save this because, I mean, I don't really need it. Let me make the one tiny revision that I wanted to make to this deck, which is take out that 11k attacker. Let me just find him. There we go. So let's take him out and play... I'm going to go with the third Teja, simply because I think that we're still going to run into the mirror a lot. So let's play one game with this deck and see how it performs, just to show you what the gameplay actually looks like. So, kind of, for those of you that like to watch my Japanese account gameplay, this will be a bit of a, you know, going back to the past. But regardless, still a good time. So let's just get into it and see how we do. So we're going to play a ranked fight. So the new season is here with the Blaster Blade reward, but the English release gave us a playset of Blaster Blades, which is insanely generous. We didn't get that in Japan, so that was really, really cool. And so, yeah, you can build your Royal decks much easier now, and that's a really, really big boost to the whole deck. So, yeah, alright, let's get into the game. So we're going to be playing against OTT, of all things, so Blue will be our opponent. Let's have a good one. And we're going to be going second. Alright, so this opening hand... I can put this back because I don't need it in this mirror match. I'm going to keep the Overlord simply because the 11k base is quite attractive. And we draw into the blockade, so the Overlord will be able to put in his work on rearguard. So that's where Overlord mainly shines, of course. And so, we're going to see our opponent is starting off on a 3k base and Rising to Dark Cat, which is good. That lets us draw an extra card, both me and the opponent. So we draw into a Nahalam, so that's pretty good too. Probably going to be our go-to ride for turn 2 as well. So we're going to see if they're going to call out anything else, but they're just going to pass turns. Now we're going to go to ours. We still draw the Tejas and a Perfect Guard, so that's pretty nice. I like to call my Conroes here, simply because if in the mirror match, you know, if they ride Conroe here, they will usually, you know, I mean, if they ride the Tejas there, they'll just smack like that. So I think that's it for this turn. Let's just smack for 7k. In terms of, we're almost going overhand, but second Perfect Guard drawn. In terms of your Conroe search, outside of the Perfect Guard, you often actually search bars, simply because having a good early aggro in this deck can mean a lot, because you're going to go into the blockade, and then you're just going to be pushing face anyway. So if you can do like 3 damage before grade 3, it can actually take you pretty far. So our opponent's going to ride into their 10k Vanilla, and then they're going to check one as well, and then he's going to be able to put back that Lozenge Magus back to deck and draw himself a card. So that's going to be pretty good. And yep, he's going to use that, draw a card, and put it back, and now gets a 5th heal in the deck. Alright, so now back to our turn. I think we're going to try to push damage pretty hard here. What we're going to do is make a really aggressive board here. We're going to use the Conroe to search a bar and make a board with make a 16k line with Tejas. I think that's a good way to go about it. Against OTT, we don't have to worry about our back row rear guards disappearing. So that way, if we lose the front row, it's okay. But let's try to push him to 4 here, because that's where, I mean, now we're only going to be able to push him by maybe 1 more. Yeah, okay, so I was banking on the trigger here to actually hit for the 3rd attack, but regardless, it's honestly worth that gamble a lot of these times, simply because, like, being able to push your opponent to 4 before they ride grade 3 means that you have a much higher chance to finish them off on the blockade turn early. So that's kind of what you aim for, but of course, if they heal now, that's going to be, you know, undoing a little bit of that early tempo. So he's going to ride this CEO Amaterasu and look at the top card of his deck after soul charging. He's going to put it on the bottom. And so now we're going to see where he's going to go with this. He's going to use the Kokoa to also check the top card, and let's see if he's going to go top or 1. He leaves it at the top. Alright. And then there's the Red Eye as well as the Apollon. And so now the Red Eye will get him an extra soul charge, which means that, oh, he heals, so he tactfully, I think is the word, put that on the top. So now he's going to be able to buffer something, and the Apollon does have an on-hit to counterblast 2 and draw himself an extra card, so that's going to be pretty nasty. He also draws off the draw trigger too, that's pretty good. Our opponent's doing pretty well here. So going to be able to use this Red Eye now to smack my Sutherland, and then I'm basically going to be put into a situation where I don't want to call this Overlord too early, so I'm going to hope to draw into a different... Ooh, he soul charges a heal. That's always a happy sight for me. And so here, he's going to hit. He's going to be able to draw an extra card going up to 6, but we also draw an extra card too, so that's also good. Into a Berserk, that's pretty nice. I might actually call that without using the skill, simply because I might want to use my counterblast for the Overlord later on. Like, if I do draw it, I try to save it for it. So let's see. And a Nahalem, maybe I don't need to. Maybe I don't need to call the Berserk yet. Alright, in that case, what we're going to do here is I can actually... I kind of want this to be gone, but it's actually kind of okay. Yeah, let's just go like this. Go to face, see what we check here. There's a PG. And nothing. Been pretty dry in terms of drive checks, so we're going to have to take out something on his field. Alright. In that case, I think I'm better off targeting this, even though it's normally smart to attack a rear that doesn't have a boost behind it, because that means sometimes your opponent has to commit 2 cards from hand to make a column after that, but whereas here he needs to commit any card to make a column that hits my Vanguard, so that's one thing to consider when you're playing through this. I'll make a tips for a ranked video some other time for all the beginners, but okay, this first attack, let's go to face, because this last attack won't be able to hit Vanguard anyway, and then here I will take out the Apollon because it, like, even though, you know, I gave you the advice a second ago, the Apollon is pretty threatening. Our opponent also plays stands, which makes that card even more annoying, so, but of course it makes Tom even more annoying above all else. Soul Charge is a draw, goes up to 5 soul, gonna be 6 after the Red Eye hits. I don't mind that at all though, because it doesn't have the counterblast to use Amaterasu's skill, so with that in mind, it's quite okay. He drew into his heal. That's better than actually seeing the heal, and there's another Apollon, he's back again. Alright, so, he's gonna hit with that Red Eye. Get that heal back to deck and get another soul charge. We'll see what he soul charges. It's a 10k vanilla, increasing the chances of a trigger popping up there. And, ooh, a PG going to bottom. That's a very important piece of information. That means that the maximum amount of PGs in his hand could be 3, so not 4. You always need to consider that with your opponent, that just imagine that they have all their PGs in hand. If you haven't seen a PG, it's in their hand. That's how you should be playing. So that's kind of my piece of advice in that sense. So hopefully that helps. But let's see. Draws an extra card off that Apollon once again. Let's see what we draw here. What we can do is also use the Berserk to make this into a 10k. Okay, let's see. I think I do want to use the Berserk. Just not sure in what sequence. So what we can do here is just call down the Overlord and make this a 21k column with the Overlord after I've used the Berserk, and then we can just swing face. I like that. I think that's good. Okay, let's go for that. No reason to hold on to it anymore. So we're going to just pop this Red Eye. And then our Joka will power up. So here's going to make that sweet 21k column. So it's going to be nice. And we can just go swing face now. Let's see, we get a draw. Finally some triggers. We weren't seeing many. But then, of course, we can still imagine that our opponent has, you know, plenty of triggers left. I mean, plenty of perfect guards left in their hand. Drawing to 2 attackers, basically. And so here we're going to be hitting here no matter what. No trigger there. So we're going to be able to smack face once again. Let's see that perfect guard. There it is. If it lags like that, then perfect guard went on. I have my animation disabled, so that's why you don't see like the flashy animations. But yeah, so we got through 2 perfect guards, and they have 1 on the bottom of the deck, so that means there's a maximum of 1 left in hand. We're going to survive this turn unless they Tom, but they need to basically... the way that they could win on Tom involves a stand trigger and me not checking defensive triggers. So that's pretty unlikely, but that's not a Tom unless he calls one over the Apollon, but he's not going to do that. So he's just going to push us to 5 maximum, basically. And then even if he does get his stand here, I will still be fine. Ooh, checks a heal. That's a bit more nasty than what I've prepared for. But normally he should be giving us 2 damage here, I think. Alright. So it's going to be 1 damage to face, and then even if we hit a defensive, his Apollon still hits, but luckily this time it doesn't use a skill. And then we can just do the same thing we just did last turn. So, call the Berserk. Oh, into a draw. That's definitely a good thing to see. So you can see the I mean, running the 8 draws really does come in handy. You could honestly, you should run 9, in all honesty. Alright, so, moving forward, let's call down the Berserk once again. Take out this grade 2, and once again make that sweet 21k column with our Overlord. And yeah, I think we can just go through with the motions here and see if they have that last Perfect Guard in hand, because here, if he checks the defensive here, my Berserk no longer hits, which will be really annoying. There's a chance though. Ooh, okay, a whiffed heal. So we're gonna test the face. This might be pretty bad. Does he have it? Oh, he does! Ooh, things have taken a turn for the worst, all thanks to that defensive. And there was no way in my hand to get over it. I think I'm still okay. If he doesn't check a stand, I'm still okay. He has only 3 triggers left in deck. And it's probably a combination of 2 stands and a draw. And 9 cards in deck. Oh, I don't like my chances. I do not like my chances here. Rise the Apollon. There's a standout. He doesn't want to soul charge anymore so that he doesn't deck out. I see you, man. I see you. That should be the last draw. Oh, man. There's still a stand left, but he can't activate them. And there was that PG that we saw, so now he's going to be able to smack face twice, but luckily our 2 PGs will pull us through here. Of course, here he will not draw the PG because he has it on the bottom of the deck, but this will shuffle, but he doesn't have any more draws this turn, therefore he will not be seeing that PG anymore. So here, our Perfect Guard activates, and then one more time. There we go. Alright, perfect. And so now, our opponent might just concede. All 4 of their heals are gone, so there is no chance for them to survive. We're going to right skip, of course. Drop down the Tejas, and we can just swing face. So there is no way we can lose at this point. Their Perfect Guards are not there, and we can just simply go on and win this match. Alright, and that should be game normally. They don't have any... Oh no, they do actually... Technically, they play 5 heals, so there was a chance, but we took that win, and so that's basically what the deck is. It's very much your bread and butter basics of Vanguard. It's a good deck to learn the game with, I would say, so for those of you that are starting, you can start building it up through that. I'm going to do a video soon on the most budget-friendly build in Zero right now. It is a Nova Glapper deck, and so that should help out those of you that are a bit more tight on the budget or weren't too lucky with your rolls, but of course you should be re-rolling if you were not, because that'll give you a really good head start to the game. So, yeah, that was the deck that I got to Legend with. It took me... How many wins did it take me? I think it was like 94, 93, something like that. We can actually check this on the home screen. That's one of the nice things about this game. It lets you actually check these things. Alright, so let's take a look at menu. Profile. I think I've had 2 or 3 more wins since I got Legend. So I think it was 90... Yeah, I think it was 93 wins I got Legend with. So, yeah. Sub 100. It took me like 150 when I got Legend in Japan, so definitely took me less time to get the Legend in English. That might just be because I've been playing the game for like 5 months now in the Japanese server. So yeah, but that was today's video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, if you guys have any questions, if you guys need a good place to also get your questions answered, my Discord has a lot of people that can help you out, so I definitely recommend joining there because that's a good place to get some conversation as well as just learn a couple things or two. So yeah, or a thing or two rather. But yeah, so I think that's going to be it for this video. Tomorrow normally we should be covering Vermilion in the Japanese server, and then the day after I normally should be doing the budget build for Novas. So yeah, that's going to be it for me today, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.